Kane, I suppose we can ask you about someone else, which you're probably quite happy about. But can you just talk us through what you saw of Ross's innings and how it rates?
Yeah, I think it'd be one of the best innings that I've seen. The tempo that he batted and obviously the length of time that he's been at the crease has been outstanding and moving our team's position forward. So I know it's a tough ask, but hopefully he can keep going a little bit tomorrow, build a couple more partnerships. Certainly would help us a lot, but an absolutely fantastic innings so far.
Was he under a bit of, how do you think he was feeling coming in? Was he under a little bit of pressure? He probably struggled a bit in Brisbane, and just to come out like that and play so well, I mean, how did you see his state of mind?
The batting coach next to me actually asked me that, and I thought he was really calm out there, which was great to see, and he sort of just went about his work in a reasonably aggressive way, and that's when he bats at his best, I think. So to get that momentum in his innings from pretty much the word go, there were certainly some tough periods, but he was playing so well, is such a nice thing, and like I say, hopefully he's able to freshen up and go back to it tomorrow.
Kane, you guys scored at such a fast rate today. Was that a deliberate thing, or is it just a natural way you two play?
No, I think you're just trying to play on merit, and with a good bowling attack that the Australians have, it is important that you do play positively, and it was nice today that we were able to form a big partnership together. Obviously Ross certainly led the way, in scoring, and he scored at such a quick rate, which certainly isn't demanded of the team, but I suppose you do go out with that positive mindset and hope that you do score at a slightly quicker rate in order to move the game forward.
Kane, one thing about Ross, or I guess the contrast between you two, was that you started well in Brisbane, you hit the ground running in Brisbane, and he's had to, I guess, build up to what he did today. How have you viewed the way things have gone for him the past couple of weeks, and I guess work that you've done together off the field?
Yeah, I think he's certainly been working at his game a little bit, but in terms of hitting the ground running, and it's the nature of the sport that sometimes you get dismissed, and then you can come out and play like that. And I mean, we all know that, well, we all do that Ross can play those innings, and he's certainly done it before. But today, certainly ranks up there as one of the best. I'm sure. It's just fantastic all around the park, front foot, back foot, and time the ball so well.
And you talked about merit, playing each ball like that. That seems to be a pretty major strength of yours, that you can. There doesn't seem to be much premeditation about the way you play. You can forget the last ball and just play the next ball. Do you feel that's a strength of yours? I
suppose it's a challenge of every batsman, and I think the best bowlers challenge that. Australia have a very good attack, and they challenge that as well. So it is important that you look to do that as best you can.
You would have heard a fair bit about the WACA deck. Did it live up to expectations?
I don't know. I've never played on it. Heard a bit about it. Pace and bounce. I suppose it was on the slower side. The Australian bowlers certainly are quicker than ours, so they got a bit more bounce and carry out of it. But it was a good surface to bat on. From what I've heard, that it is that it's got a very fast outfield, which we've seen. So I hear back when MACA played, what was it? I don't know.
Fast and bouncy. It was that long ago.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's changed a little bit. I'm not sure.
Well,
has it changed?
No.
We were playing it, did you, today?
2001. It was. I think there was more grass on day one, but we were surprised at how brown it was on day one, because generally there's a bit more green grass left on it. But it's not certainly as quick and as fast as what you hear people talk about yesteryear. So there was no real surprise for us there. We weren't expecting something that was going to be that different from the Gabba, really, and there wasn't, to be fair, a lot of difference.
Mackie, you've seen a few test knocks. Do you care to rate Ross's for us and where that stacks up?
Oh, right up there. I thought it was an immense innings, and it had been brewing for some time. He'd been a little bit short of time in the middle and runs, but what do they say? Form's temporary, class is permanent, and I think that got shown today. I thought, as a concentration, I thought the first 2 or 3 overs of the day really set the tone for the way he was going to bat. His tempo, as Kane mentioned, was superb. And some of the things, hitting straight down the ground is something that I think he's worked really hard on in recent times, just to open up that area that probably hasn't always been a strength of his. But some of those straight cover drives were some of the best that you'll see from any player in the world. So you'd have to rank it right up there in terms of one of New Zealand's best test knocks, with the conditions, with the match situation. You throw all that into the mix, and it's one of the best.
Given how, I assume he's pretty tired, but how far can he go tomorrow?
Good question. There's still a lot more batting to be done, so he can go as long as the concentration stays strong, really. We want more partnerships from that lower order, guys to hang in there with him and bat as long as possible, and then see what happens from there.
Kane, there's only a couple of blokes that have scored more centuries than you at your age. You might have heard of them, Tendulkar and Bradman. How does it feel to be in that sort of company?
I don't think I'm in that company. It's nice to be scoring runs, helping the team out, trying to move the team forward, trying to get results, and that's what it's about.
Kane, what's the difference in facing Mitchell Johnson to Mitchell Starc? And do you feel Stark's been a bit more of a threat through this series so far?
I think they've got a very good attack, and they're all slightly different. They all bring something slightly different. I suppose Starc and Johnson being left armers, there's a similarity there, but I suppose it's like any player that I think Starc bowled a couple of really quick spells, and so did Johnson, and I suppose Stark's got the rewards in this game a little bit more, but both world-class bowlers.
Did either Brendan or Ross mention the 160 delivery or that spell in general, and did they say it was particularly quick to either of you guys?
No. I don't know, maybe someone on the truck was having a bit of fun, but that delivery come out of nowhere. It looked pretty similar to a lot of the other deliveries throughout the day that were closer to 150 than 160, so I'm not sure whether maybe the wrong button was pushed or what, but you'd have to ask the Roscoe who was facing it whether it felt 10k quicker than every other delivery you'd faced.
You faced one of the very few 161 Ks in cricket history. Did that feel like 161 when you did?
Oh, it felt more like 181 to be fair. Shoaib Akhtar at his quickest. No, to be fair, it just felt like a normal delivery, so it was in different circumstances, but I have to say I was a bit surprised when I saw it come up on the TV, because I think a couple of the spinners' deliveries were quite high as well, so I just wonder whether maybe there was a technical problem down in the truck that had maybe led to that, I don't know.
Kane, has today and yesterday restored a lot of confidence and belief in the group? Like, do you get a sense now that everyone does believe you're as good a team, if not better, than Australia?
Yeah, there's always that belief, but we also don't get too far ahead of ourselves, and there's a lot of cricket left in this game. We had a poor day on the first day, a pretty good day on the second, and today was a good day for us, but at the same time, we are slightly behind. Obviously, was it 40 or 50 runs on the scoreboard? But I guess batting second or last, on the surface will bring its challenges. So, look, if we can keep playing good cricket again tomorrow in that first session and do what we know we can with the ball, then who knows? There's still very much a chance of all three results, and I guess it brings that excitement to the game.
What about in terms of a result for either team? How likely?
Not looking that far ahead, to be honest. We've had to do a lot of work to get close to parity after day one, and the last 2 days have been all about that. So we're still behind, as Kane mentioned, but tomorrow that first session's important. We've still got 4 wickets left, so it's important that we eke out as many runs as we can, and then the game will develop from there, really. But certainly I think you saw on the surface today with some of the cracks and some of the variation and bounce that batting will become more challenging over the next 2 days. So whatever we can eke out will be important.
Kane, Brendan often talks about the special things that your team has done. Do you sometimes feel that goes unnoticed by the rest of the world? I mean, and even before this test, Mitchell Johnson sort of said about you after the Gabba, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good because I haven't really seen much of him. So I just wondered, do you guys feel that you sort of play in the wings a little bit when it comes to world cricket?
What special things?
Well, I think some of the victories you've had or some of the matches you've had, Brendan keeps saying this team's just done some special things.
Oh, yeah. I suppose, there's been some good wins, some good victories in recent times, but our focus isn't that as such. It's far more what's in front of our nose and trying to constantly improve with the group we have, constantly challenge the team, and grow that culture within. And certainly it's improved a lot in the last year and a half, and it has reflected in performances. And the Gabba test wasn't certainly one of our better ones, but that can be the nature of it. And we know we're up against a very tough side in Australia, and it is important to check ourselves, to come back to the basics, look to continue to just build on performances, and not get too far ahead with perhaps how we're going to do this, how we're going to get a win, how we're going to just look at improving constantly so we become a better cricket team. And that's our focus. So hopefully we can continue to do that.
And when you hear someone like Mitchell Johnson has said that almost like he hadn't really seen you much before, even though you've obviously played a lot. Is that something that you guys are conscious of, that there are lots of people in the world who have seen the likes of Joe Root, Steve Smith, and they talk about those guys, but you kind of play in the wings a little bit, I guess?
I don't know.
We haven't played Australia for 4 years, so I think the last time we were here, a lot of these guys were just starting out. So we've played a lot of cricket over those 4 years, but Australia we haven't played much against. So and we don't play as much, especially Test cricket, as what some of the other nations do. So you can understand them saying that, because he just hasn't seen a lot of our guys in close contact. So we're going to play Australia obviously this series when they come to New Zealand. So hopefully at the end of the summer they'll have a lot better feeling of how good our guys are and how well they play.
Craig, just in regards to how I suppose you got your guys ready to deal with the Australian bowling attack, a lot of pace and a lot of aggression, but I suppose scoring opportunities, was there the sense there that if you could respect their good spells and get through them, the opportunities have come to score?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously they're attacking bowlers who come after you, but the upside of that is that they're scoring opportunities. And I think one of the impressive things from our guys over the last 2 days is how efficient they've been when they've been offered a scoring opportunity. They've hit gaps well, and they've really put anything loose away, which is put that pressure back on the Australian bowling attack. So I think that's a key when you're facing a good attack that's got extra pace, is that when they miss, you've got to make sure you hurt them. You're not looking just to defend and survive, you're actually looking to score. And I think obviously Kane and Ross and that partnership did that beautifully today, but it sort of flowed right throughout the order in terms of the partnerships right throughout the day that we were able to create, and it's something that we'll continue to work on and be looking for right throughout this first innings.